सुदेव। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Chapter 17. Victory of Hiranyakash over all the direction of the universe. Text 1. Maitreya uvacha nishmayatam bhuva gitam karnam shankyo jigitya tata sarve ne vartanta tridivay divokasaha.
Translation. Sri Maitreya said, the demigods, the inhabitants of the higher planets, were freed from all fear upon hearing the cause of the darkness explained by Brahma, who was born from Vishnu. Thus, they all returned to their respective planets.
Text 2. दितिस्तु भर्तुरादेशात्पत्य परिशङ्किनी पूर्णे वर्ष वर्षशते साध्वी पुत्रो परशुषुवे यमो.
Translation. The virtuous lady Diti has been very apprehensive of trouble to the gods from the children in her womb, and her husband predicted the same. She brought forth twin sons after a full 100 years of pregnancy.
Text 3. उत्पात उत्पात भवसत्र निपेतुर्जायमान्यो दिवि भुव्यन्तरिक्षे च लोकस्य यावः.
Translation. On the birth of the two demons, there were many natural disturbances, all very fearful and wonderful, in the heavenly planets, the earthly planets, and in between them.
Text 4. Sahachala भुवश्चलेर्दृशा सर्वा प्रजवलुः सोलकाश चाशन्या पेतु कतवश चाति हेतवः.
Translation. There were earthquakes along the mountains on the earth, and it appeared that there were fire everywhere. Many inauspicious planets like Saturn appeared, along with comets, meteors, and thunderbolts.
Text 5. वववायु सुदुर्सपर्शः फूतकारा निरयन्मुः उन्मूल्यन गपतिन्या वायतानिको रजोध्वजः.
Translation. The blue winds, which were most uninviting to the touch, hissing again and uprooting gigantic trees. They had storms for their armies and clouds for dust for their ensigns.
Text 6. उद्धसद्दिदमबोधघट्या नष्टभागणे व्योमनि परविष्टस्तमसा न स्यादृश्यते पदम्.
Translation. The luminaries in the heavens were screened by masses of clouds, in which lightning sometimes flashed as though laughing. Blackness reigned everywhere, and nothing could be seen.
Text 7. शुक्रोश्विनावार्धिर्दुर्रुधुर्मि शुभितोदरः सोत्पानाश्च सरितश्चुक्षुभुषु कपन्गजः.
Translation. The ocean, with its high waves, wailed aloud as if stricken with sorrow, and there was a commotion among the creatures inhabiting the ocean. The rivers and lakes were also agitated, and lotuses withered.
Text 8. मुहुः परिध्यो भुवन् सराहवो शशिसूर्ययो निर्घाता रथनिर्हरदा विवर्भ्य परगिरे.
Translation. Measly halos appeared around the sun and the moon during solar and lunar eclipses, again and again. Claps of thunder were heard even without clouds, and sound like those of rattling chariots emerged from the mountain caves.
Text 9. अन्तराग्रामेषु मुक्तो वमन्त्यो वः निमुल्बणां सृगालोलुकटकङ्कारे प्रणेदुर्शिवं शिवः.
Translation. In the interior of the villages, jackals yelled monotonously, vomiting strong fire from their mouths, and jackals and owls also joined them with their cries.
Text 10. सङ्गीतवर्धोद्वन् वन्दुनमय शिरोधरां व्यमुञ्चन विविधा वाचो ग्राम सिंहासत् तत्सततः.
Translation. Raising their necks, dogs cried here and there, now in the manner of singing and now of wailing.
Text 11. खराशच कर्कशेषतः खुरे धरनंतो धरातलमा खारकार रंभा मता परे धावन वरुद्धशः.
O Vidura, the asses ran eater and titter in the earth, striking the earth with their hard hoofs and weirdly braying.
Text 12. रुदन्तो राजभद्रस्ता नीडा दूधपतन खगः घोषेण रणय च पश्वा शक्रन मूत्रम कुर्वता.
Translation. Frightened by the braying of the asses, birds flew shrieking from their nests, while cattle in the cowsheds as well as in the woods passed dung and urine.
Text 13. गावो अत्र संसगृदो हस्त योधा पुण्य पुयवर्षिणः व्यरुदन्दवे लिङ्गानि द्रुमापेतुर्विनानिलम्.
Translation. Cows, terrified, yielded blood in place of milk. Clouds rained pus. The images of the gods in the temples shed tears, and trees fell down without a blast of wind.
Text 14. ग्रहण पुण्यतमानन्य भग्नां च शचापि दीपितः अतिचेरुर्वक्रगत्या युयुधुश्च परस्परम्.
Translation. Ominous planets such as Mars and Saturn shone brighter and surpassed the auspicious ones, such as Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus, as well as a number of lunar mansions. Taking seemingly retrograde courses, the planets came in conflict with one another.
Text 15. दृष्टा दृष्टादानेशच महोत्पात विदः प्रजः ब्रह्मपुत्रा नृते भीता मे नीरे विश्व संप्लवाम.
Translation. Marking these and many other omens of evil times, everyone but the four sage sons of Brahma, who were aware of the fall of Jaya and Vijaya and of their birth as deity sons, was seized with fear. They did not know the secrets of this potence and thought that the dissolution of the universe was at hand.
Text 16. तावादिदेत्यो सहसा व्यजयमानात्म पुरुषो वृवृधाते शंसारेण कायेनाद्रिप्तीव.
Translation. These two demons who appeared in ancient times soon began to exhibit uncommon bodily features. They are still like frames which began to grow just like two great mountains.
दिवि स्पर्शो दिवि स्पर दिवि स्पर्शो हेमका किरीटकोटिभि निरुद्धु काष्ठ सफुर्दं गदाभुजो गां कंपयन्तो चरणे पदे पदे कट्या सुकाञ्च यर्कं त्यस्तस्थतुः.
Translation. Their bodies became so tall that they seemed to kiss the sky with the crest of their gold crowns. They blocked the view of all directions, and while walking shook the earth at every step.
Thank
Their
you.
arms were adorned with brilliant bracelets, and they stood as if covering the sun with their waists, which were bound with excellent and beautiful girdles.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Devi Mataji and Girish Prabhuji. Very beautiful recitations. Thank you so much. Okay, and thank you so much, all dear devotees, for kindly joining this evening where Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so before we enter into Srimad Bhagavatam, we shall offer our prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Gurus, Vaishnavas, and Radharani. Okay. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांशं श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांशम् हे कृष्ण करुणसिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकासस्वामिन् इति नामिनि नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिनि नमस्ते सारस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणि निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणि जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृणुतां स्वकथाः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृद्यन्तस्त्वह्य भद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृसतां नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकीम् एते चांशकलाः पुंसः कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयम् इन्द्रारिव्याकुलं लोकं मृडयन्ति युगे युगे इदं भागवतं नाम पुराणं ब्रह्मसंहितम् उत्तमश्लोकचरितं चकार भगवान् ऋषिः निःश्रेयसाय लोकधन्यं स्वस्तये नमः कृष्णे सुदामोपगते धर्मज्ञानादिभिः सह खलु न शुश्रामेष पुराणार्को अधुनोदितः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्गदये अथ विश्वेश विश्वात्मन् विश्वमूर्तिस्वकेषु मे स्नेहपाक्षिम् इमं चिन्तितुं इमं पाण्डुषु त्वयमेनन्यविषयमतिर्मधुपते असकृत् रतिमुद्वाहतरद्धा गङ्गवघुमुदन्वतीं श्रीकृष्ण कृष्ण सख विष्णु शुभावनिद्रोग्राजन्यवंशधनानपवर्गवीर्य गोविन्द गोद्विजसुराटहरावतार योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते योगेश्वर किल गुरो भगवन् नमस्ते तुलयामलवेनापि न स्वर्गं न पुनर्भवं भगवत्सङ्गस्य मच्चानं किमुताशशः पुनश भूयाद् भगवत्यनन्ते रतिः प्रसङ्गश तदाश्रयेषु महस्तुयां यमुपयां सृष्टिं मैत्रसु सर्वत्र नमो द्विजेभ्यः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामिने गौरत्विषे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपात्तमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरम् श्रीचैतन्यप्रभुं वन्दे बालोऽपि यदनुग्रहात् तरेणानमतग्राहव्याप्तं सिद्धान्तसागरं श्रीचैतन्यप्रभुं वन्दे यत्पादाश्रीविदितः सङ्गृणात् आकर्वातात् अज्ञा सिद्धान्तसन्मनीम् ॐ नमो भगवते राधा गोविन्दाय नमः हरे कृष्ण Okay, thank you so much for kindly waiting. I shall share my screen. let me just sorry. Okay, so today we have been discussing in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the third canto. It is the verses 7 to 14. So this chapter is victory of Hiranyaksha over all the directions of the universe. So Hiranyaksha is going to wander. So as soon as they take birth, Hiranyakshipu and Hiranyaksha, so they both so they grow very big and huge in due course of time, and later on Hiranyaksha will go throughout the universe. Okay, so starting from here. So here in this first few 6 slokas, so Maitreya Rishi is speaking all his pastimes to Vidura. So as in the 13th chapter of third canto, there Maitreya Rishi, he was explaining about the Varahadeva pastimes. So whenever during describing the Brahma's creation at the time Swayambhumanu, and then Swayambhumanu was asking for where is the land, then he asked Lord Brahma and they were contemplating. Then a small Varaha Toko, so small little Varahadeva has appeared from the nostril of Lord Brahma, and then he has grown very big and then lifted the earth, and then he left. Once he just kept the earth to float on the water, and then he left back to his abode. So after saying that, Vidura has asked, can you please describe all these pastimes in detail to me? And then Maitreya started speaking between the story of the Kashyapa Muni and Diti, and then later on the Vaikuntha pastimes, and then how Jaya and Vijaya are cursed, and then how Jaya and Vijaya now they became the children of Diti Mata as demons. So when the Maitreya was describing to Vidura about the lifting of earth by the Varahadeva, at the time he also mentioned that Tatrapi Daityam Gadayapatantam Sunabha Sandipita Tivramanyuhu Jaganandanam Asahi Vikramam Salila Rebham Vibhradibham Bhasi Tadbhakta Pankantita Ghandatundo Yata Gajendro Jagatim Vibhindan. So Maitreya Rishi has given a little bit of indication that Lord has lifted. At the time, Hiranyaksha also came with his mace to fight with the Lord. So that give indication to Maitreya Vidura to inquire more about the pastimes of Varadeva. So and then Maitreya Rishi also spoke about the Vaikuntha pastimes. Now coming to the 17th chapter, that Jaya and Vijaya, they have taken the shelter of semen of Kashyapa and entered into the womb of Diti. And then, so now we are going to see that bad omens as soon as these two demonic people, Hiranyakshipu and Hiranyaksha, in the womb of Diti Mata. So here, just a recap on this one. So inhabitants of the higher planets were freed from all fear from hearing the cause of the darkness explained by Brahma, who was born from Vishnu. Thus, they all returned to their respective planets. So this is Brahma and demigods pastime. Their discussion was complete and demigods went to their abodes. And later on, Diti Mata, the virtuous lady Diti, had been very apprehensive of trouble to the gods from the children in her womb, and her husband predicted the same. She brought forth twin sons after a full 100 years of the pregnancy. And later, on the birth of the two demons, there were many natural disturbances, all very fearful and wonderful in the heavenly planets, the earthly planets, and in between them. So this is in me throughout the universe. And then further, there are earthquakes along the mountains and earth, and it appeared that there was fire everywhere. Many inauspicious planets like Saturn appeared along with comets, meteors, and thunderbolts. And then further, there blew winds which were most uninviting to the touch, hissing again and again and uprooting gigantic trees. They had storms for their armies and clouds of dust for their ensigns. And then further, the luminaries in the heavens were screened by masses of clouds, in which lightning sometimes flashed as though laughing, and darkness reigned everywhere, and nothing could be seen. So these are different kinds of natural calamities are happening, disturbances within the universe by the birth of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. So we are going to continue from the text 7 to 14 onwards. So here in this seventh shloka, um, so here, what else further calamities are happening? So this is oceans with its high waves wailed aloud as if stricken with sorrow, and there was a commotion among the creatures inhabiting the ocean. The rivers and lakes were also agitated, and lotuses withered. So in such a way, we are going to start. So the text 7, so we shall recite and then see what else the word by word Sanskrit. चुक्रोश विमान वार्दिः बुधिर्मिः क्षुभितोधरः तोदपानाश सरितः चक्षुभुः शुष्कपङ्कजाः चुक्रोश विमान वार्दिः. Chukrosha is wailed aloud. Vimana, Vimana, stricken with Vimanaha. This is Vimanaha is stricken with sorrow. Vadihi, the ocean. So they are wailing. Their big waves are coming. Udurmihi Chubitaha, Udaraha. So there are big gigantic waves, high waves agitated. The creatures inside, they are Sodapanasha Saritaha, Sodapana, Sa Udapanasha, with the drinking of water of the lakes and the wells, Cha and Saritaha, the rivers, and Chukshubha, they were agitated. Shushka Pankajaha, and the lotus flowers also withered. So these are oceans with the high waves wailed aloud as if stricken with sorrow. And there was a commotion among the creatures inhabiting the ocean. And the rivers and lakes were also agitated, and lotuses withered. So these are the different kinds of. So when we see go in front of the ocean, sometimes the big waves are coming, and just like here it is comparing like high waves wail aloud as if stricken with sorrow. And there is commotion among the creatures inhabiting the ocean. So whenever the ocean is getting agitated, all the living entities in the ocean, they also get fear. So for example, in the past times of Lord Ramachandra, as soon as when he does the prayers in the sense, kind of 2 days of austerities observed, so that the ocean god will be pleased, and then he will be coming in front of Ramachandra, but he did not come. So when at the time Ramachandra, just by his glance on the ocean, all the living entities in the ocean, they were perturbed, and then immediately the ocean god has come out, and then offered his obeisances to Ramachandra, and then he said what Rama needs to be done. Okay, so here as soon as this ocean is getting agitated, so many other living entities, they're also perturbed there at that time. And the rivers and lakes were also agitated, and lotuses withered. Rivers and lakes were also agitated. Okay, so that is from the shloka. There is no purport about this. These are all kind of a bad omens. And then further, in the next shloka, so frequently the sun and moon, they are being covered by this. They're covered by the clouds, and also the misty halos appeared around the sun, and this is kind of a eclipses, sun and moon during the solar and the lunar eclipses. Again and again, claps of thunder were heard, even without clouds, and sounds like those of rattling chariots emerged from the mountain caves. So this shloka goes like this. Muhuhu paridayo abhuvan sarahoho sisisuryayoho nirghatarata nirhradha vivarebhyaha prajijhere. Muhuhu paridayo abhuvan. Again and again, this paridayaha, misty halos, abhuvan, they appeared, and sarahvoho during the eclipses. So we have got, there are two, Rahu and Ketu. Those are two planets, or sometimes we call as the demons, and they used to come and swallow the sun and moon sometimes, Rahu and Ketu. So because of that, we see this is the misty halos. Sarahvaho Sesi Suryayoho. And these are the during eclipses. Sesi Suryayoho, the moon eclipse, solar and lunar eclipses. And Nirghata, the claps of thunder. Data Nirhudaha, the sounds like those of rattling chariots. When the thunders are coming, actually when who are living nearer to the mountains, the sounds come, and from the mountain caves again the resound comes, the echoing sound. So at the time the sounds was like a rattling chariots. We could see that when we were children, we used to think that there are some demigods are going in the chariots and then pouring the water. Before this little Krishna, that movie comes, so before we reading this Srimad Bhagavatam also, we used to hear, so someone is going in the clouds like that. So it is for the children's village people, the innocent. We didn't know at the time something is like that. Okay, so we could hear this is Nirghata Rata Nihruda Nihruda. So sounds like those of rattling chariots. Vivarebhyaha Prajidhere. Vivarebhyaha, from the mountain caves. Prajidhere, they were produced again and again. So there goes, the echo goes first level and second level, third level, and then the entire sound dies very slowly. It goes in number of cycles. And children used to just make the sounds, and then the resound we hear again and again and again. It is so beautiful. Okay, so this is, but there is no purport for this one. So translation, misty hollows appeared around the sun and moon during the solar and lunar eclipses. Again and again, claps of thunder were heard even without clouds. So claps of thunder were heard even without clouds. And sounds like those of rattling chariots emerged from the mountain caves. Okay, that is the second shloka. So giving different kinds of the natures, how they are also perturbed by the appearance of two demonic people. And then further moving to the next shloka, 9. And here, so there are the female jackals, where they are crying like anything, just like they are spitting the fire from their mouths like that, and being themselves, keeping themselves in the middle of the villages. And also some jackals and owls also joined them with their cries. Okay, this shloka goes. Antargrameshu mukato vamantu vahnim ulbhanam srugal buluka tankaraihi praneduhu asivam sivaha. Antargrameshu mukato, antargrameshu, inside the villages, grameshu mukataha, from their mouths, vamantyo vahnim ulbhanam, they are vomiting vahnim, the fire, ulbhanam, and fearful, shrugala, these are jackals, and uluka, owls, tankarehi, with their cries, and praneduhu, creating their respective vibrations, ashivam shivaha, ashivam sivaha. Ashivam is the inauspiciousness. Sivaha, Siva, it is the sheep jackals. They're called Sivaha. Okay, likewise, Maitreya Rishi is saying about it. Antargrameshu mukato vamantu vatnimul bhanam srugal vuluka tankarehi praneduhu asivam sivaha. So in the interior of the villages, she jackals yelled portentously, vomiting strong fire from their mouths, and jackals and owls also joined them with their cries. So this one we could see people who live in near to the villages and near to the forest in the early morning, early 4 o'clock or something like that. So people used to go for outside for morning ablutions. So during the time, these animals, jackals, they used to cry like anything, and all the village people immediately they get alert by hearing those sounds. Something is going to happen when we hear this jackals sounds and also owl sounds. And sometimes owls come and sit on top of the home, and again immediately we see immediately shoo away those owls so that it would not make inauspicious things. And so here, she jackals are vomiting the fire from their mouths, and jackals and owls are also joined with their cries. So this is one of another inauspicious omens, and further, let us see what else further is covered. And here in Maitri, she again saying about the dogs also lifting their faces and then making this noise like a singing and times of wailing. Sometimes it is wailing sounds. Sangeetavadrodnavad Unnamaya Sirodharam Vyamunchan Vividavacho Grama Simhaha Tataha Tataha Sangeetavad Rodhanavad, and sometimes like a singing Sangeetavad, just like a singing Rodhanavad, and also sometimes like a wailing, and Vunnamaya and raising Sirodharam. Sirodharam is the neck, so keeping their heads top toward looking straight towards the sky, and then they sometimes they sing, it is appearing singing and sometimes wailing. Vyamunchan, and they uttered Vividaha, various Vachaha, cries, different kinds of sounds and different cries, various cries, Vacha. Vacho Gramasimhaha Tataha Tataha. The dogs here and there in the villages, they're also making this noise. And immediately this is also we practically have seen in the childhood. Of course, many of the people might have seen, and immediately people will shoo them away, these dogs, stopping them to do such kind of things. But this again, scientifically, it also understood that these animals they can their observe. I think that frequency observations, like a kind of humans, like a 20 to 20,000 hertz, something like they can hear and understand whatever is observing the uh, some kind of grasping understanding situations like that. But dogs, they have got 50,000 hertz, something like that. When we have studied in the science, so it described that they can immediately understand what is going to happen in the future, inauspicious things. So here the dogs are raising their necks. Dogs cried here and there. Now in the matter of manner of singing and now of wailing, like that. Okay, so that is Sangeetavad Rodhanavat Vunnamaya Surodharam Vimunchan Vividavacho Gramasimhaha Tataha Tataha. And further moving to the next sloka is 11th one. And what else further? So here coming about the asses. They ran hither and thither in herds, striking the earth with their hard hoofs and wildly braying. Kara, kara. So Karasha Karkasaihi Kyattaha Puraihi Gnanto Dharatalam Karkara Brabasa Mattaha Paryadhavan Varutashaha Karasha Karkasaihi Kyattaha. Karaha, these ashes, Karaha, the donkeys or asses also. Karkashaha, they're hard. Kyattaha, wo vidura. Kuraihi, with their hooves, and what they're doing with their hooves, the donkeys or asses. Gnantaha, they are just striking the earth. Gnantaha dharatalam, on the surface of the earth. And Katkara Rabasa Mattaha, and braying with a very It is again braying wildly, rabasaha, wildly engaged in, and mattaha, in madly they bray. Paridavan, varutashaha, and ran hither and thither, and varutashaha, in heads. So this one also we could see in the villages. Sometimes these donkeys are maintained by the washermen. They used to take lots of clothes on top of these donkeys and then taking them to the where the water the river is going on, flowing on. They wash the clothes and then they dry the clothes there. In the until evening they keep the clothes, and the evening they keep all these clothes again, make a big bunch and then put on top of these donkeys and then bring them home in the evening. But during the daytime, these donkeys they will be moving in the bunch like a herds, hither and thither, and then eating, and then their both legs in the front legs they're tied with a rope. And sometimes we see, but nowadays we don't see such kind of donkeys or asses in the villages also. And they make so much of noise, and it is very, we don't like to hear such kind of voices. Okay, so that is making wild braying. And also they're striking that with their hard hooves. When we see such kind of things, the people of the village, they're sure we are going very far away. Okay, so we could see if people from villages, they could have observed all these symptoms. कराश कर्कसैः चत्तः कुरैः घ्नन्तधरातलं कार्कार रभसा मत्ताः परिधावन् वरुतशः. Okay, so purport, asses also feel very respectable as a race, and when they run in flocks hither and thither in so-called jollity, it is understood to be bad sign for humanity, human society. So they also have got, they think that everyone respects them, but they don't understand. That's why they're called foolish. Okay, so that is it is so-called jollity. It is understood to be a bad sign for human society. Okay, we shall move on further to the towards 12th shloka. So here, with the braying of these donkeys, what has happened? So because there are so many the cows and birds are just flying from their nests, and also um, the cows, by with the fear, they have released their stool and urine like that. Okay, so this 12th shloka. रुदन्तरास भद्रस्ता नीदाद्वुदपन्खगाः घोषे अरण्ये च पशवः सिकृत्मूत्रं कुर्वत सिकृत्मूत्रम् अकुर्वत. So here, रुदन्तो ऋषभः तत्रस्ता. So रुदन्तो rasabhatrasta. Rasabha is the by asses. Rudanta is shrieking by the asses, and trasta by frightened. Trasta is frightened. Nidat from the nest. So Nidat is from the nest. Udapantan kagaha. Udapantan, they flew up from their nests. Kagaha, the birds. Okay, so this Nidat Udapantan kagaha. Ghoshe aranyecha pashavaha. Ghoshe aranyecha. So Ghoshe is in the cowshed, aranye in the woods, cha, and pasavaha, the cattle, sekrat mutram akurvata. Dung and urine, they have passed, akurvata. So when we see some kind of fearful things, then immediately the sekrat mutram vimunchati. So for example, this one also, the human also, when they are fearful of something, for example, at the end of their life, whenever Yamadharmaraja soldiers they come, and the people may be very fearful looking at their fearful form. Yamadotau tada praptu bhimau sarbasa ikshanau. And then there, drashta, it is mentioned like the Trasta Hrudayaha, Drashta Trasta Hrudayaha, Sikrut Mutram Vimunchati. The human also release this stool and urine by looking at the Yamadutas. Likewise, here the animals, the Pashavaha, animals and also birds. Birds are flying and these animals, they're releasing stool and urine here by the fear. Okay, the frightened by the braying of the asses, birds flew shrieking from their nests, while cattle in the cowsheds as well as in the woods passed dung and urine. Okay, so likewise, it is another kind of inauspicious omen. रुदन्तो रासभद्रस्थ नीडाद् उदपतन् खगाः घोष अरण्ये च पशवः सिक्तुमुत्रम् अकुर्वत. Okay, so we shall move to the next shloka as well. So here, further it is describing that the cows, they are giving the, instead of giving milk, they are giving the blood. Blood is coming out of those from the cows in the place of milk. And also there is the rains are coming with so much of pus. And also the demigods in the temples, they are crying. It appears that they are crying. Their tears coming from the image from the gods in the temples. And also trees are falling without wind. So these are few another omens. So reciting the shloka. गावो तत्रासन् असृग्दोहाः तोयदाः पूयवर्षिणः विरुधन् देवलिङ्गानि द्रुमाः पेतुः विनानिलम्. गावो atrasan asrugdohaha. Gavo atrasan. So the cows with the fear, atrasan asrugdohaha, the blood. And their dohaha, yielding, instead of giving milk, it is bleeding from the wherever the milk is coming from. Okay, so from the milk bags, the blood is coming. And toyadaha puyavashinaha. Toyadaha, this is the which is giving water, that is the clouds. Toyadaha puyavashinaha, they are raining pus. Toyadaha puyavashinaha. Virudan devalingani. Virudan, they are shedding tears. Who are they? Devalingani, the images of the gods in the temples. Virudan devalingani. And Drumani petuhu vinanilam. And the trees are falling without there is any blast of winds. Without wind, and these trees are falling. So these are kind of inauspicious omens. Just like whenever Damodarila, Krishna has pulled those trees. But actually, Nanda Maharaj was thinking, without wind, how can these big two trees fall down like that? Of course, that is auspicious thing. But here, as part of the inauspicious thing, so the cows are giving the blood, and the rains are like with pus, and demigods are shedding tears, and trees are falling without blast of sound. Okay, so cows terrified yielded blood in the place of milk, clouds rain pus, the images of the gods in the temples shed tears, and trees fell down without a blast of wind. Okay, so this one also we used to hear, but we haven't seen practically. We used to hear in the childhood that demigods are shedding tears in the temples, some temples. And people used to discuss in the evening, all people like in the villages, they come together and discuss what is happening in some other villages. The demigods are tearing, tears are coming from their eyes, from the images of gods like that. I have not practically seen, but I used to hear from the elders. Okay, so this is another inauspicious woman. We shall move to the next shloka as well. So this is about the auspicious and inauspicious planets. Auspicious planets, they are not appearing like brightly, but inauspicious planets, they are appearing brightly. Likewise, here Maitri Rishi is mentioning to Vidura. Okay, recitation of the shloka. Grahan punyatamananye bhagavanam shapi deepitaham aticheruhu vakragaccha yudusha parasparam. Grahan punyataman anye. Grahan punyataman anye. and Grahan, the planets, Punyataman, most auspicious planets, Anye and others, the ominous planets, and Bhaganam Shapi Deepitaha. Bhaganam Shapi Deepitaha. The luminaries, they are also Bhaganam Shapi, they are also Deepitaha, illuminating. And Aticheruhu Vakragatya. Aticheruhu, they overlapped Vakragatya, taking retrograde courses. That planets, they're going in a retrograde courses. Overlapped. Sometimes we see that this planet and another planet is conjoined, something like that. We could hear from the astrologers. Aticheruhu Vakragatya, Yudasya Parasparam, and they came into conflict. Yudasya, they came into conflict, and this is Parasparam, with one another. So Grahan Punya Tamananye Bhagwanam Shapi Deepitaha, sorry, Bhaganam Shapi Deepitaha, Aticheruhu Vakragatya Yudasya Parasparam. So ominous planets such as Mars and Saturn shone brighter and surpassed the auspicious ones such as Mercury, Jupiter, and Venus, as well as a number of lunar mansions. Taking seemingly retrograde courses, the planets came in conflict with one another. So, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, the entire universe is moving under the three modes of material nature. Those living entities who are in goodness are called the pious species, pious lands, pious trees, etc. It is similar with the planets also. Many planets are considered pious and others are considered impious. Saturn and Mars are considered impious. When the pious planets shine brightly, it is an auspicious sign. But when the inauspicious planets shine very brightly, this is not a very good sign. Okay, it is astrology. So sometimes in everyone's horoscope, we would see, first of all, they will draw some kind of rectangle and then they put some lines. It is called some kind of graph, the planetary graph, and they will put which planet is in which corner like that. So, and if there are more than one inauspicious planet coming nearer to the auspicious planet, something like that, they say, okay, you are going to see some difficult times in the near future, like that. So that is a birth chart. So we would see that one. So this auspicious, this is the Brihaspati, Shukra, and Buddha. These three are auspicious planets. And Angaraka and Angaraka and Saturn, that is Shani. These two grahas are inauspicious. But sometimes we see that Saturn, it come into one's life 7 years. This is called kind of a Shani period. And then one has to go through in his lifetime at least 7 years, very hard times. It is mandatorily like that. But it would come either in the beginning or in the middle or in the later ages of his lifespan. And Mars is like it is a red planet. It is um, the Kartikeya is the deity for this planet, and Saturn is the deity. This is Shani. Shani is son of the sun god, and he is the deity for this Saturn. Okay, these two are considered empires. And because of this Mars influence of the Mars, the relationships may be broken. But sometimes we see this is Kuja dosha, Angaraka dosha in a families, like when getting married. So these are looked into that charts horoscope. If there is a Kuja dosha, a girl and boy both need to have Kuja dosha so that they both can be um, performing some kind of rituals to mitigate that Kuja dosha. So these are all another kind of inauspicious events happening in the universe. Maitreya is describing to Vidura. So just coming to here, whenever Krishna was disappearing from this planet and from the material world, during that time, Yudhishthira was describing all these inauspicious omens to Bhimasena as well, his younger brother. So he speaks to his brother Bhima, saying that, I'm taking note this one. O man with a tiger stance, how many miseries due to celestial influences, earthly reactions, and bodily pains, all very dangerous in themselves, are foreboding danger in the near future by deluding our intelligence. The left side of my body, my thighs, arms, eyes are all quivering again and again. I am having heart palpitations due to fear. All this indicates undesirable happenings. Just see, O Bhima, how the she-jackal cries at the rising sun and vomits fire, and how the dog barks at me fearlessly. O Bhima, tiger amongst men, now useful animals like cows are passing me on the left side, and the lower animals like the asses are circumambulating me, and my horses appear to be weep upon seeing me. Just see, this pigeon is like a messenger of death. The shrieks of the owls and the rival crows make my heart tremble. It appears that they want to make a void of the whole universe. Just to see how the smoke encircles the sky, it appears that earth and mountains are throbbing. Just hear the cloudless thunder and see the bolts from blue. So here, Yudhishthira is mentioning all these inauspicious omens, describing that something undesirable is going to happen. And land. So here, he also the wind blows violently, blasting dust everywhere, creating darkness. Clouds are raining everywhere with bloody disasters. Again, going through a few other inauspicious things. Uh, and then finally, he mentions whether the time has come for Lord Krishna to depart from this material world. Likewise, he mentions to Bhima. Of course, later on, Arjuna comes and then he relayed that message to Yudhishthira. So this is happening whenever there is inauspicious things happens. Of course, but Krishna's pastimes are different. The janma karma chede me divyam evam yo vet tatpataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mam vet Arjuna. They're transcendental. But here, now, Jaya and Vijaya, they have appeared like a Hiranyakshipu and Hiranyaksha. At the time also, these inauspicious moments are happening. And everything goes like by under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We know that Mayadhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagad Viparivartate. So during this time, only the Kumaras, the four Kumaras, they are not fearful of these bad omens. But everyone, even the demigods and the entire human, this universe, all living entities, they are getting perturbed because Kumaras, four Kumaras, they know what has happened in the Vaikuntha Loka. So they're in full knowledge of it. But everyone else, they're perturbed. So here, again, Gunabhimana Devaha Sargadishu Asya Yad Bhayat Vartanti Anuyagam Vashayetat Sacharacharam. Everything runs under the fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vartanti Anuyagam Vashayetat Sacharacharam. Under the Gunabhimana Devaha, even the mode of the deities for the three modes of material nature, like Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, for deities for goodness, passion, and ignorance. So they are all Gunabhimanu Devaha Sargadishu Asya Yad Bhayat, all the demigods of the heavenly planets. Yad Bhayat, they are also fearful of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Kapil Bhagavan says in the 3rd canto, 29th chapter, while describing about the glories of the Supreme Personality of God and devotees, why they approach the Krishna like that. Nanyatra Bhagavataha Pradhana Purusheshwara Atmanam Sarabhuteshu Bhayam Tevaram Nivattate. So otherwise, unless one comes to the lotus feet of Krishna, he would not be free from the fearfulness. So because of that reason, he will take only shelter of the Krishna, not any other demigod. And so here, even the Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara also fearful of. Even the Vishnu is expansion of Krishna, but still here Kapil Bhagavan says that one Gunabhimanu Devaha Sargadishu Asya Yad Bhayat and Yad Bhayat Vati Vatoyam Turihatapati Yad Bhayat Bhagano There is one more shloka comes here from that Kapil Bhagavan describes about the this is Yad Bhayat Vati Vatoyam Surya Tapati Yad Bhayat Vashate Devo Bhagano Bhati Yad Bhayat. Everything out of the fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The wind blows out of fear of Him, the sun shines out of fear of Him, the rain pours forth showers out of fear of Him, the lost of heavenly bodies shed their luster. So everything goes under the fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Again, similar coming to Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Gama Vishyacha Bhutani Dharayami Aham Vojasa Pushnami Chaushadihi Sarvaha Sama Bhutva Rasatmakaha. Sorry, Soma Bhutva Rasatmakaha. I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon, and thereby supply the juice of life to all the vegetables. This is one thing with regards to the planets. And then further, there is one more shloka from the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma's prayers. Yachakshure savita takala grahanam raja samasta surumurti rashesha tejaham yasyadhya brahmati samvrita kala chakro govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. So all this Yachakshuhu Yesha Savita Sakala Grahanam, all the planetary systems. Raja Samasta Surumurti Rashesha Tejaha. Raja Samasta Surumurti Rashesha Tejaha. The king of all the planets is the sun planet. And also Yasyadhya Brahmati Samvrata Kala Chikuru. And all this, the time wheel, everything, they are moving by the fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See? Yes, Yadhya, by the order of the Supreme Lord. The sun, who is king of all planets, full of infinite effulgence, the image of the good soul, is as the eye of this world. I adore the primal Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the sun performs his journey, mounting the wheel of time. In such a way, all the planets are under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So coming back to here, why we have discussed about these planets. This universe is one planet. This is the entire one. What is that one? One universe. This is. Let me just show this entire screen. So this is one universe. This universe is with the 7 layers. It is called Saptavadrihi. And because of the Lord's presence, this universe also expands. Like as a living entity present in the human body or any other body, because of the presence of the spirit form, the body grows. Likewise, the plant, because the Lord is present in this universe also grows. Universe also keep growing. So that also even the scientists also, they have acknowledged because of the presence of the Lord. Because of the presence of the Lord, Nabho Dadati. So even the sky gives the space, Nabho Dadati. Padam Yenniya Madadaha. So it gives a space because of the fear of the Lord. The universe also gives a space like that. It expands. Okay, so this is one universe. And whatever is happening, all these bad omens, and also this is beginning from the blowing of the wind, and also this solar eclipse and lunar eclipse and everything else, and the perturbation of these oceans and the lakes and rivers, and braying of the donkeys, crying of these jackals and dogs, everything, and the cows are yielding the blood instead of the milk, everything under the control, because Jaya and Vijaya now, they're from the Vaikuntha, they're coming down here in the forms of Hiranyakshipu and Hiranyaksha. Mai sambhrambhayogena nistirya brahmahelanam pratyeshitam nikashame kalena alpiyasa punaha. And also it is the desire of the Lord that they are going to come here, and everything is under the control of the Lord. So we would see, we understand, we should not think that it is in the other way around. Everything is under control only all the time. One has to come to that point. Whatever happens, either good or bad, Sometimes we may see that Lord, there is no connection to the Lord, we don't see it, but still that is second statement of Chatushloki Bhagavata. तृतीयार्धं यत् प्रतीयेत न प्रतीयेत चात्मनि तद्विज्झात् आत्मनो मायं यथा अभासो यथा तमः, which is appearing that there is no connection to the Supreme Lord, but even that is called illusion. That is illusion. That is also has got Lord has got control on everything. Okay, so we need to understand this. Bad omens also under the control. Okay, that is happening. So because unless there is a big thing, and then once the big thing goes, all bad things goes, and then we feel relaxed. Then all the living entities come and be happy later on. So for the Lord to appear, and then devotees madbhaktana vinodardham. The Lord says that, oh, goddess of fortune. So here, Lakshmi Devi. So I can kill all these demons in a moment, but I do my pastimes, madbhaktanam vinodadham. For the pleasure of my devotees, I perform different pastimes. He creates this thing. So a person, vipashitaha, means who understand the transcendental knowledge. He will not be perturbed by the outside omens, so either good or bad, whatever is happening in this world. So that is Vidyavinesam. What is that one? Okay, so he is always equipoised for everything, good and bad. Okay, so likewise, but Maitreya is describing all the inauspicious omens at this stage. Okay, I stop here. I request dear devotees, if you have got any questions or if you have got any corrections or you want to share anything, kindly share, kindly ask. Hare Krishna. No questions? No sharings? Okay, so if there are no questions or no sharings, then we shall conclude our session for tonight. Okay, thank you so much, dear devotees, for kindly coming this evening to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so this one, it will continue for a few more shlokas, these inauspicious moments, and how these Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, they grow bigger with their peaceful bodies, the demoniac bodies, and then they control the other demigods also. Okay, so that is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, if you are happy, we shall conclude. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यः
कृपा सिंधु भवेच्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः।
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णवेभ्यो
Srila
Hare
Prabhupada
Krishna,
ki
Jai. Thank you,
Thank
Prabhuji,
you,
for the
Prabhu.
wonderful
Thank you,
class. Thank
Prabhuji.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.